So on the balance of things, let's start off with the new proposed gaming law. The details really seem to alarm some investors, and we saw that clawback of the gains that we saw earlier.
Good morning. So yes, the gaming law has now been published, or the draft amendment has been published. It clarifies, I think, much of the uncertainty that existed through the public consultation process that we saw in Macau in the fall of last year. So that's been the positive. That's why we've had a rebound. I think right now we're in a pause mode because investors are digesting what these terms actually mean. And the reality of the situation is that while the law will get fixed, I think we'll get more and more clarity around the future from a regulatory perspective. What really needs to happen is the travel barriers need to come down and visitation needs to resume to Macau in a much greater way.
Tell me about the, I guess, seniority in terms of which of the names you like and which you think are perhaps a little bit more resilient to the risks that we're talking about.
Well, in Hong Kong, we prefer Sands China and MGM China, largely because of the mass and premium mass recovery story that we have baked into our projections over the next 2 to 3 years. We think the risk reward for most Macau stocks today is actually still very, very attractive if investors are able to hold for an extended period of time, beyond 6 months, beyond 12 months, because of the uncertainty around when recovery will really begin. This needs to be a long-term investment rather than something much more short-term focused.
Especially given that we don't know how the Omicron variant will play out, right? When are you expecting travel to resume, especially the opening of borders with the mainland, and how is that being factored into your base case assumption for these stocks?
So last year, visitation into Macau from China was running at roughly 20% of what it was pre-pandemic. So we're significantly behind on the travel resumption, largely because most of the travel restrictions are still in place. We would expect Hong Kong to reopen for Macau, and it has been closed for almost 2 years now, sometime in the spring, perhaps late March, perhaps April. That will be the first impetus to start seeing more return of visitation into Macau. The next key will be the return of group travel from mainland China. We really don't expect that to happen until later in the summer and perhaps even the fall. And obviously, the current Omicron breakouts that we're seeing both in Hong Kong and in China, while still fairly low by standards from the rest of the world, have caused travel disruption within China, have caused travel barriers to come up. So for the very short term, that's still going to be a big issue. But we expect by summer, fall, that we'd start getting a significant amount of visitation coming back into Macau.
You prefer Sands China over other casino stocks in the region. Why?
So we believe that Sands, with its build-out program that it's had over the past 2 years, has repositioned itself in the direction of high-end base mass and premium mass with its new product offering. Sands has always been the leader in the mass market in Macau. With the retrenchment of the junket industry that we're going to be seeing in Macau, and that's already started, we believe operators that are more exposed and more proficient in mass and base mass stand to outperform. So from that regard, we think Sands is very well positioned with its 12,000, 13,000 hotel rooms and its very large non-gaming footprint to draw in foot traffic as the visitation recovery resumes.